If you've just bought your first drone or are looking to start a drone business, you've come to the right place. What's going on, guys? My name's David Tomic and welcome back to the channel. Last week we just surpassed 300 subscribers, so thank you so much for being a part of the family. If you haven't subscribed already, check out the little subscribe button below, smash it if that's what you're into, and let's get on with this video. If you've just gotten your first drone and are ready to go fly it, or if you're ready to start a commercial drone business, there's a few things that you need to be aware of today in 2019. There are 5 laws to keep in mind before you go out and fly your drone, basically every single time, regardless of the situation. The first Australian law is the fact that your drone should always be visible in sight. So if it goes behind a building or behind some trees and you can't actually see your drone physically, well, this is an issue and you need to move yourself to be able to see your drone or move the drone. This also connects to another part of the drone laws in Australia and the fact that you can only fly your drone during the daytime. So obviously nighttime you can't really see your drone, daytime you can see your drone pretty easily. The second law that's restricted by country and geographical location is your maximum altitude from takeoff point. Right now in Australia we have a maximum altitude of 120 meters from takeoff point, and also a minimum restriction of 30 meters above sea level for any wildlife photography or videography. So if you're looking to get some great content of some wildlife or potentially some whales, some dolphins, something amazing in the ocean or something amazing on the land, well, make sure that your drone is at least 30 meters above the takeoff point, and that way you're going to be able to crop it down in post and make sure we don't cause any harm to these beautiful animals in our country. The third law is a pretty basic one, and there's been a lot of people get in trouble recently by not abiding by this law. This isn't just speaking in Australia, this is speaking worldwide. A couple months ago, somebody shut down Heathrow Airport because they flew their drone directly over the airport. CASA, which is the Civil Aviation Safety Authority in Australia, regulates all our drone laws, and they've recently updated their Can I Fly There drone app to the Open Skies app. If you download the Open Sky app for both Android and iPhone, I'm going to link it down below with a couple of other things to help you guys out here. You can actually find out where you're legally allowed to fly, what kind of limitations there are, and it all depends if you're flying recreationally or for commercial use. So the Can I Fly There app is the old version from CASA that's been replaced by Open Sky, and honestly, Can I Fly There was a half decent app, but it was very buggy and glitchy. From what I found from the Open Sky app, it's a lot more user friendly and so far so good from a bug's point of view. However, the basic rule of thumb is if you're 5.5 Ks anywhere in the radius of an airport, make sure you do not fly your drone. And if you're unsure, open the Open Sky app, take a look and find out if you can safely launch your drone. The fourth law is a basic one and also kind of tricky to do in a sense. So the fourth Australian law states that you can only fly one drone at any given time. I don't really understand how you're going to be operating 2 drones at the same time. That seems a bit counterproductive and, well, dangerous. But yeah, make sure you're only flying one drone at a time. And the fifth law is super simple. Make sure you respect everybody's privacy. We don't want anybody flying their drones next to somebody's window, looking into things and causing havoc around the street. So if your neighbors have some concerns, make sure you have a chat to them first. Tell them that you're not going to be flying anywhere near their house, or if you're flying commercially, make sure you give everybody a proper warning before you go and do your commercial shoot. Okay, so let's say you've been flying your drone for a while now and you've mastered the art of drone flying. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, that drone cost me a lot of money. I'd love to make it back somehow. Well, if you're looking to become a commercial pilot or offer your services in a commercial industry, you actually need to be registered with CASA in Australia. There are a couple of things to keep in mind here, and one of the best things to note is the fact that if your drone is under 2 kilos, you actually fall into an exemption category, which makes becoming a commercial pilot so much easier. But let's have a quick think here. If you have a drone and you have a service to offer somebody, what's a quick way you're able to start a business and actually talk to somebody and start getting some drone footage out there in the real world? Well, in my experience, the best way to offer your services as a drone pilot in any small town or any area that's lacking these abilities is to simply go out and knock on real estate agents' doors. Real estate agents love making their ads stand out, and drone photos and drone videos make sure they pop. So if you're able to come in at a very competitive price and make sure you're giving extremely high quality service, well, real estate agents are going to love you, and you're going to be staying up all night, editing photos, getting those drone pictures out the door, and you're going to have your first ever drone business. But before we get to any of that, you really have to make sure you abide by the CASA safety laws and register as an official drone pilot on the CASA website. So as I mentioned, if your drone falls under the 2 kilo weight limit, you actually fall in an exemption category. So this means you don't have to go through all the CASA processes, but get your remote pilot's license, get your remote operational certificate, and do these very expensive and very long training courses. One of the great things about owning a Mavic Air or a Mavic Pro, a Mavic Zoom, is the fact they all fall under the sub 2 kilo category. But basically, to become a commercially registered pilot with CASA in the exclusion category, all you have to do is go online and fill out a couple forms and make sure you inform CASA that you're going to fly in a commercial space from here on in. However, to get a drone pilot's license in Australia with a drone that weighs more than 2 kilos, you're going to have to go to a training course near your local city. This training course actually comprises of 2 components, and it's the remote pilot's license and the remote operator certificate. I think from memory it takes about 3 days to get both of these, and it is a little bit costly, but again, it is well worth it if you're entering that commercial space. As I've mentioned before, there are a couple of new drone laws coming to effect in potentially early 2020. So CASA has sent out a mass email to everybody on its drone emailing list stating a couple of the different facts and a couple of the new laws that may potentially come in early 2020. There are a few things that I personally think are great for the drone community, and a few things that are going to really discourage people from owning a drone and making drones seem even worse than they are in the public eye today. So regardless if you're planning on using a drone for recreational fun purposes, or if you're planning on using it as a commercial drone, you're going to have to register it with the CASA Association. So when you think about it, it's great that everybody has to be registered, but having everybody registered means somebody in the background has to set all this up, which means it's going to cost you money to have a registration every single year. At the moment, if you're thinking of owning a recreational drone and flying it whenever, once, twice, a million times a year, it's potentially going to cost you about $30 a year just to have this drone registration. On the flip side, if you're thinking about becoming a commercially registered pilot, along with all those remote pilot license and remote operator certificate fees, you're also going to have to pay a yearly fee to keep your remote pilot license and your drone registered. At the moment, from what I've been told, it's about $250 yearly just to keep your license. The second proposed change is something that's, well, it should be pretty obvious, but I guess as your kids grow up, you feel that they're more and more like adults and you give them a lot more responsibility and you stop watching over them eventually. However, now they're proposing that anybody under the age of 16 is going to have to be supervised by an adult when flying a drone. Now, this is great for somebody who's irresponsible and maybe risking other people's lives by flying a drone over into an airport. However, it also is discouraging younger kids and younger photographers, videographers, cinematographers from reaching into this industry and really honing their skills in before they go out into the real world and start exploring these potential opportunities. So in my opinion, I'm not really too sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I think the kids that are really passionate about photography and videography, especially drone photography, they're going to be happy with their parents or any adult standing next to them at all times as they fly their drone, and they're still going to be just as passionate and love it just as much. Thanks so much for watching, guys. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that subscribe button, maybe drop a comment, let me know what you thought, and as always, I'll see you next Monday.